Nice introduction. Very good afternoon to everyone. Really very grateful for this gracious welcome to you all in this
Yeah,
fifth international webinar on
bus start हो
AI
गया ग्रैब
assisted
होगा
research services. Today, renowned
नहीं आ
speaker
गया
of this international webinar, Dr. Pichappan, and Executive Board of SLACIA community, esteemed members of SLACIA community, luminaries of library professionals, a galaxy of eminent personalities of different fields from across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure and profound enthusiasm that I extend a warm welcome to everyone to this insightful international webinar. As you know, it's a great pleasure and profound enthusiasm that I extend a warm welcome to everyone to this insightful international webinar. I'm thrilled to in the United Kingdom and India, and a professor of information system at AISB University in Saudi Arabia. He have a very vast experience. He has published over 150 research papers and serves as the editor for several well-known international journals. Professor Peter is also a primary editor of the Springer series on real-time intelligence system and IEEE digital data processing series. His work covers important topics like data analytics, natural language processing, symptomatics, and all. Apart from that, he has worked on numerous 100 projects and has been part of 88 international conferences. He has also contributed to committees related to big data, bibliomatics, science policy, and recently he organized an international conference at Vietnam. Today, we are fortunate to have a Professor Pichappan with us to share his knowledge on AI assisted research services. His expertise will help us understand how artificial intelligence is changing the way to do research, making it faster, more efficient, and more innovative. I extend a warm welcome to all our participants joining us from across the globe. Friends, indeed it's my pleasure to inform you that almost 700 registrations have arrived in very short span of time, which is still coming on now also. So, which are from India, South Africa, Philippines, Bangladesh, Hungary, Pakistan, Indonesia, UAE, Ireland, Sri Lanka, Nigeria, and other countries worldwide. So, your presence enriches our discussion and highlights the global importance of innovation and connections. And also, due to the overwhelming responses from the participants from uh, corner of the globe, it is also live stream on YouTube channel. As we know that the limitation of the Google Meet, and fellow friends, it will delve into the transformative role of artificial intelligence, AI in enhancing research methodologies. As AI continues to reshape various sectors, understanding its applications in research is vital for advancing knowledge and innovation. I sure participants will gain insights into AI technologies while discussing the associated challenges and ethical considerations. Don't miss the faith. And I hope and believe that Professor Pichappan insights will help us recognize what makes a work environment, and how we can address these challenges. So let us this opportunity to learn, share ideas, and work together, creating healthier and more supportive workplaces globally. So, fellow friends, without taking your much time, I would like to request Professor Pichappan sir for his invited talk. Professor Pichappan sir, now over to you for your talk, please.
Well, good evening, Professor MP Singh, for a very nice introduction. I'm happy to meet all of you in this pleasant evening. Uh, I think I can able to open the slides. It's not moving. Slides are not moving.
No, no, sir.
I'll reopen the slides.
Which
I'm
way,
not
sir?
able to move the slides.
So open it again and don't go to the slideshow. Just show it like that only. It will move.
I'm not able to. Just I will reopen the slides. Well, I think now it's clear. Well, thank you, Professor MP Singh, for a very nice introduction. And the topic Professor Singh has selected is very significant. I do not know whether my topic will be incremental to the participants, but theme of the event is very important. A very significant topic has been identified by Professor Singh, and I'm very happy to talk something about the artificial intelligence assisted research tools. Now, I like to address this topic mainly from the point of a reviewer and an editor of the scientific journals. As an user, you have thousands of benefits from the artificial intelligence assisted research tools. But as an editor of a scientific journal and as a reviewer of a scientific paper, I can able to provide you a balanced view of the artificial intelligence assisted research, where we can able to use the artificial intelligence tools and where we can limit the use of the tools. We can have a discussion and what is the reality in the research environment. Now, what is the significance and reality of the AI in research? If you look at the various scientific news, reports, blogs, and the talks, you find that AI is very important. One can do the research just with AI. So this is actually a discussion from only one point of view. But on the other side, AI has many limitations. What are the major limitations? Where we can use the AI, where we can limit the use of AI. So we should basically have this important understanding about the use of the AI tools. Or I can say, I can able to link the concept of the AI tools with the other important concept, research integrity. If you look at the AI tools from the research integrity point of view, we can identify many limitations. So in this talk, I can able to explain the significance of the AI tools, the importance, and where we can able to use, and also where we should not use the AI tools. In the last couple of years, everybody is talking about the AI, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a concept, it's a term, but it's a technology which has been occupying a very important part of our life. Whether we do our natural work or routine work, or we do academic work, or we do business work or professional work, academic or research work, AI has some implications. Without the use of AI, without the influence of AI, doing a work, the professional work is very difficult. So artificial intelligence is inevitable. Research without the artificial intelligence is impossible in the future. With this promising understanding of the AI, we can proceed further. Well, in this topic, in this program, I can able to talk some information about AI, and I can able to explore some discussions. So now, when we talk about the scope of the AI in this program, I can say that research using AI is very complex. It's very broad. It is very difficult to talk about the use of AI in just 1 hour. So we should talk more about the use of AI. So what I can able to talk in this evening, and what I can able to skip. So I can able to give you a very clear indication of the scope of the talk. So in this talk, I'm not going to talk about the AI tools. What are the AI tools available? How to use the AI tools? What are the features of the specific AI tool? I'm not going to talk about it. Or how to employ, how to use a particular AI tool for research. I'm not going to talk. The simple reason is that we have thousands of AI tools. For research help, we have more than 1,000 AI tools. So it is practically impossible to list all the AI tools and to talk about the features of the AI tools. Now, if I'm going to confine my talk only to the listing of the AI tools, my talk will be a directory. So I don't like to do a function of a directory, but I want to discuss some of the major issues about the use of AI. So what I'm going to talk in this evening. So what are the major phases in the research process? In the research activity, what are the major steps? This is one component. Another component, what are the subdomains of AI? Because AI is a very broad term. It's not a very specific term. It's a broad term. What are the major subdomains of the artificial intelligence? And what are the subdomains which you can use it for research? So among the various AI domains, only a very few subdomains are used for AI. What are the subdomains which have impact on the artificial intelligence? So let us have a discussion about it. And finally, I'm going to give a very significant part of my talk for the research writing. We can use the artificial intelligence for research writing, but where we can use, where we should not use. The limitations and benefits of using AI for research writing, not only for research writing, for any academic writing. For writing, where we can able to use and where we should limit the use. So I will talk about these features in the evening program. So now let us go to the next slide. I think all of you are able to see the slides.
Yes, sir.
Artificial intelligence is a very broad.
Yes.
Yes, artificial intelligence is a very broad term, but we use the term AI for research, but it has many subdomains. If you look at the Google or any such platform to understand what are the subdomains available in artificial intelligence, or if you want to know the taxonomy of the AI, you can come across many divisions. Some people say AI has 4 divisions, and some people say it is 8. Some people say it is 15 subdomains. So the taxonomy is something not unique. So each individual, each researcher has classified the AI into different divisions. But in general, I can able to identify some of the major subdomains of artificial intelligence. First one is robotics, then machine learning with the deep learning, image processing and computer vision, neural networks, data science, autonomous vehicles, cyber security, and NLP. These are the major subdomains of artificial intelligence. When you talk about the use of AI for research, research in any subject, research in computer science, or research in social sciences, research in material science, or research in other fields of technology, research in any domain. When you do the research in any domain, only some components of AI are really applicable. And these are machine learning number one, machine learning that includes deep learning, number two, data science, and number three, natural language processing. These are the three subdomains of AI which have influence on the research process. So let us confine only these three subdomains for the present talk. And when you talk about the various research components, research stages or research processes, I can able to list 7 stages. In any research work on any research activity, The first task is actually the problem identification. We can express a problem in the statement as a statement. Then we talk about the early research analysis. So when you do your research, naturally you should look at the old research. What is research already being done? What is state of the art research, the condition? So we should look at it. And how do you actually prepare an architecture? How do you prepare a research design? And what's the scope of your research? Data analysis, data interpretation, inferencing, data exploration, and finally is the writing. Now, in the 7 stages of research, AI is useful only for some components. I have classified the 7 areas into 3 divisions. One is actually some areas where AI use is not possible. Even it is possible, I suggested to avoid the use of AI for certain components. So I mark it as red. Problem identification. So when you want to look at the important specific issue for the researcher, do not use any AI. So it should be a novel idea. The basic feature, the requirement of any research process is a novelty or the originality in the idea. You should develop a new problem which is not being addressed by anyone. If you look at any AI tool will extract the already done research. It will not suggest any new area of research because the AI is a machine which cannot think completely like a human being. Only human beings can able to generate the new ideas. So for the problem identification, do not use any tool. AI has no scope at all. So there is a classically as a red area, not possible for problem identification. And when you identify the problem, when you go to the statement of the problem, you can use the AI tools. Here I can say the role of AI should be between 30 to 50%. Partial, so we can able to express a problem in a statement by using AI tool. Then you want to do the literature analysis, early research. So what is the research already done in one area? When you look at a very specific issue or the research problem, you can able to use the AI tool to bring all the already done research. Here AI can be more beneficial. And when you want to when you want to understand the state of what is the present condition. So when you initiate a research work, what is the existing status of the research? This is called state of the art report. When you prepare a state of the art report, you can use AI tools because AI tools have promising results when you look at the research which is already done. And the research design, purpose, scope of the research. It's completely a human task. It's purely a human activity. You cannot bring a machine to prepare a design for your research. And if you bring a design, in case, imagine you want to use AI tool for preparing a design for your research, and actually that design is not original. AI cannot generate a new idea. It cannot able to bring a new design. The designs which are already available in the web platform are being extracted, and a research design is created by the AI tool, which is impossible. So when you want to generate a new research design, you should use only your mind. Only human beings can able to create a research design. So to bring the purpose and scope of the research, do not use AI tool. The next stage is data analysis. There you can able to handle large amount of big data or open data. AI has a promise. And for data interpretation, when you deal with a lot of data, for example, millions of data, millions of genomic sequences, millions of records of a database, or billions. Your data set has billions of records. When you analyze the billions of records, you have to use only AI tool because manual processing is impossible. And the last is the inferencing and data exploration. And after the data result, the result should be given proper interpretation. And for the interpretation, you can use AI tools. For data exploration, for data visualization, and for inferencing, you can use the AI tool. AI has very good scope. AI has very good promise. And last part is the writing. When you document the research outcome, you prepare a documentation. A documentation may be a research report, maybe a thesis or a scientific journal article. So when you generate a report or a scientific article, or when you prepare a documentation of the already done research, you can use the AI tool partially. Partial use of AI tool is actually promising, but you cannot use the AI tool completely for generating a report. When you generate a report, when you want to publish a report to the public or to the scientific users, you have to use AI tool alone. AI tool will be partially useful. So this is a very clear framework which I have prepared, where you can able to use the AI tool, where you have to limit the AI tool, and where you can avoid the AI tool. So these are the three classifications I have prepared for the use of AI tools for the research process. Well, and now we can go to the next slide. Now, what are the recent developments in the research? Why we have to use AI tools? In the last 10 years, you can take, especially from the 2010, the last 14 to 15 years, there are drastic changes in the research process. So we have to use a technology. Technology has far-reaching implications in research. Unless you deploy proper technology, you cannot do any meaningful research. Technology is influencing the research, has good influence on research. Unless you employ technology, you cannot do the research. Now, this is the major development in the last 15 to 20 years. And all the experiments are now resulting in a high output, high volume of output, actually. High volume of output. It's not a simple result. All the result analysis are very complex, heterogeneous. It's not very simple. So it resulted in that high output. All the experiments result in high output. And then the projects you take on for research are data intensive. Data is very important now. Imagine you take a sample of 20 people or 20 pieces for your research, and then you generate inferences. You want to publish the inferences based on a data set, a sample of 20. Whether your research will be accepted, no one will accept the result. A simple data has no value at all. So we are depending on the data. So more value of data, more complexity, heterogeneity is a character of the research. So the research process now depend upon the data intensiveness, and then we deal with the large amount of data. That's called the big data. Even for a small research process, you should deal with the vast amount of data. Big data has more influence on research. Small data has no value at all. This is actually some of the major developments in the research. So we can call it actually as a paradigm shift. Shifting of the research paradigm from one to other stage, and this is very significant. That is why we use AI tools to handle large amount of data, and we apply large technology research that is based mainly on the AI tools. Well, in the AI tools, actually, one of the major concepts which are influenced is called deep learning. Deep learning is a very important component of the AI. It is actually a part of the machine learning. What is actually deep learning? Deep learning actually uses artificial neural network. In the artificial neural network, the basic component is actually neuron. See, normally deep learning has no program like, for example, C++ or Java, no, or not PHP. So the programs are not mainly used, but to some extent, the program like a Python and R are employed in deep learning. To limited extent, Python and R language has impact on the deep learning process, but mainly deep learning depends upon the neural network. In the neural network, the very basic element is neuron. The neuron is nothing but the replica of the human brain, human cells. So what the human cells can do, what the brain can do, and they want to replicate the character in the form of the neurons. So neurons is a partial reflection of the human brain. We cannot say 100%. Neurons can able to reflect the human brain partially. So in the neural networks, the neurons are used. So we can call it actually the machine intelligence. So we want to replicate the human intelligence by machine intelligence. So we are able to succeed to a part, not completely 100%. So human intelligence is being applied for the machines, and that is reflected in the form of the machine learning techniques. So this is a very important component of the research. And then the last is actually the understanding of the speeches by machines, understanding of the languages by the machines, understanding of the images by the machines. This is possible by the use of the neurons. That's called neural network. So this is a very small discussion. I am not going to talk much about the deep learning. There are reasons, because if I'm going to talk about the deep learning, it will be more technical, and I have to skip the research process. The very important component of the AI is the natural language processing. Where research depends heavily NLP, that is called also called actually as a text mining. NLP is also called as a text mining. Natural language processing as is a very important division of the AI, which has very high influence on the research process. Now, what is NLP? In the natural language processing, people use the digital devices. These devices can recognize, can understand the text. It can generate the text. It takes care of the features, linguistic features like the semantics and syntax of the language. So the natural language is analyzed by using digital devices. And this is nothing but the NLP, natural language processing, which has very good impact on the AI research, AI-based research. It uses practically statistical modeling, machine learning, and deep learning. These are the technical issues, so we need not talk about it. And then very important part of the research is actually text generation, and which uses the linguistic rules, which is called actually as a generative generative AI. The classical example everybody knows is a chat GPT or Google Bet. And we have hundreds of NLP applications, not only chat GPT. Recently we have Brainstorm. Brainstorm is found to be more significant than the chat GPT. So ChatGPT is being now overlooked by many other AI platforms, including Elicit. I can say Elicit is another excellent tool. Brainstorm is another AI tool, which are actually nothing but the generative AI platforms. What is actually generative AI platforms? So I can explain very practically. The generative AI platforms can able to generate the text matter. The machines can able to generate the text. It can able to use the linguistic rules. It is not completely, for example, a combination of several words, but it follows the linguistic rules. That is why we can able to get the organized text. When you actually give a query, that is called a prompt. In ChatGPT, you are giving the prompt. There is nothing but the query. When you give the query, the machine will give the response, not in the form of some certain keywords, but a text which is written correctly with using all linguistic rules, with less grammatical errors. The grammatical errors of ChatGPT is much lesser than the human generated text. So the human generated text cannot be equated to the machine generated text, especially in the use of the linguistic rules. So they are very successful. All the generative AI platforms are very successful in developing, in generating the text which is well organized, well systematic, well scientific. And that is one of the major reasons why generative AI platforms have profound influence on research. We'll talk more about the generative AI in the later slides. One important application of AI is data management. When you talk about the data management, just you can compare the environment we had before 20 years. So imagine the period before 2000. Before 2000, no computers were used, internet was not used, web platforms were not used. The data volume used before the year 2000 was very less. People used only very few samples. For example, 100 samples, 150 samples, or 100 records, 150 records. Because only this number of records or samples can be manually handled by human beings. That is why people limited their samples or data value just to one or two hundreds before the year 2000. At that time, no technology was used in research. Mostly all the processes were manual. No algorithms were used before 2000. No tools were used. Only all the statistical calculations were done manually by the people. And no software software was used before 2000. And what is the result actually? Because of the absence of the technology, absence of more data, absence of algorithm and tool or software, the changes have taken to a lesser extent. No important breakthrough, especially, of course, breakthrough was done early, I can understand. So before 2000, all the discoveries have very scientific conceptual value. But now the discoveries are technology value. Now this is a shift which we can able to identify. until 2000 year, all the research developments, all the research inventions are characterized by the concept development. But after 2000, all the research outcome is characterized by the technological development. Now, this is the major shift. Now we are shifting from a concept to a technology. Now here, every research is based on technology. So until 2000, you know very well that no much significant development was undertaken. That is why technology was not developed and no breakthrough technology was achieved until 2000. Now here in 2000, 2024, we deal with a lot of data. Data is very important for the research. When you talk about the data and the computation, I told you, I have been telling you right from the beginning of the first stage is that we are doing the research based on data intensive research, handling of large data. And this data is handled by computation, not by manual method. So data is manipulated, analyzed, visualized, synthesized using big data sets. We handle the large number of data, and these data sets are able to be heterogeneous, complex. The computation techniques help us to develop the algorithms. We are able to create a design, and we can able to simulate the real world operations and analyze scientific data. And now here, the data and computation are correlated. Data is handled only by computation process, where we can able to exploit the databases, modeling, and analytics. Well, now one of the important characteristics of any data is actually data is very complex. It's not very simple, and data is heterogeneous. It's not homogeneous. It's not the same character. And beyond the data complexity goes beyond the human imagination. We do not solve a data puzzle manually, and we deal with the large data sources. Complexity is a major challenge and diversity in data, and we need then skilled resources to handle the data, which is possible only with the AI tools. Well, now you know very well that in your research process, you never collect the data manually. If you collect the data manually, the data collection is very limited and there's no value in research. So people resort for the digital data collection. People use the robots and the computer intelligence to get the data from many platforms. So how do you get the data for your research? You have many data sources, many platforms. Now one platform is actually the web and wearable devices, smart devices. See, for example, biometric operated devices, your smartwatch, and then sensors. These are actually wearable devices. Now, no human being is actually involved in the data collection. Nobody is taking a paper and the pen to collect and record the data. Nobody is recording the data by using paper and pen. So we use the devices, a smart device, a smart sensor, a biometric application, a weblog data. And these are the digital tools used and the sensors which collect the data automatically without your knowledge. And these are stored in the open data sets. We use a mobile for the data collection. And these data are largely used. Now we have a very important concept in the research that is called data replication and reproducing of the data. See, one major development in the research process is actually a massive project which is undertaken by a group of people at different locations across the world. They use the same setting of the research, but people collect the data from different locations across the places, and then they combine it, bring a massive research project. So this is a data replication. So you will do it maybe not at your thesis level, but when you want to do a major research project, you have to talk about the data replication. One example I can tell you, that is not related to this talk, but I would like to tell this very important point. See, I know very well that the number of the Indian researchers who involved in the international research projects, collaborative research projects, is very less. There are many international collaborative research projects, especially funded by European Union, National Science Foundation of US, and Japan Science and Technology Corporation. When you want to involve in the project, you should have a collaborator from other countries. So many collaborators from other countries actually involved, they join together and then they do a research project. And when you do a research project, jointly with Collaboration with the individual researchers for a major research project, the people are sitting from different places across the world. They collect data from their own place and then finally integrate all. They talk about how to process the data, how to analyze the data, and how to bring the results. So in the major international research collaborative projects, the Indian participation is very less. That is why we are lagging behind the collaborative research. And if you do the collaborative research, definitely the major concept data replication is separate. Unless you understand the data application, you cannot able to work in a major international research project. So in terms of the contribution by Indians in the international collaborative project is very less. So this is what are the scope of this talk. Just hence I can able to go to the next one. And for data visualization, we can use AI tools. So what is the actually data? Now how do you present the data? So imagine you have hundreds of records. You have, for example, for each record, you have five variables. Five variables for one record. You have 100 records. Now it is possible to analyze manually. So what you can do? For example, when you have 100 pieces of data with five variables each data, you can analyze manually. You can project the findings in the form of a table or a simple graph. Without any machine involvement, human presentation is possible because you handle very small amount of data. Imagine you are handling millions of records. Say, for example, millions of genomes, gene analysis of millions of people or millions of population. And when you handle large big data, you cannot present the result in a simple table or a graph. So you can present the result in a single machine generated graph, not by the manual graph, by machine generated graph, for which you have to use AI tool. AI tool has very good application in the data visualization. For example, when you have millions of records, when you have big data, complex data, you can never do the analysis by using AI techniques. AI will generate the result and then you can able to visualize just in a single figure, in a single image, in a single graph. So the graphical representation of the result of the billions of data is possible only by the use of the data visualization AI tools where there are large number of tools. If you Google data visualization AI tools, you will get hundreds and hundreds of tools. Some of are open sources and some of are actually based on the money. But there are many open source tools available. Unless you use the data visualization tools, it is very difficult to do the data analysis. And we have a lot of software platforms which are able to help you. And then apart from the data visualization tools, large language models are also used for the data analysis. For example, you deal with the text data. So when you have the numbers and visualization tools can able to convert the number, translate the number into some graph. But when you deal with the large amount of text data, the text data can be handled only with the large language models. This can able to create very good data visualizations, and we can able to connect multiple data sets. This is the potential of the data visualization tools. Well, I think this slide, particularly on data analysis, may look more theoretical. So I don't like to discuss more on this slide because you may feel very bored because it's more theoretical. Just I can able to give two important points. First one is actually about predictive analytics. What is predictive analytics? In any field of knowledge, whether in science or social science or humanities, we do a research to project the future. When you forecast, actually, when you want, for example, take the stock market, the next month, what will be the trend? Or in the November 3rd or 4th week of 2024, what will be the trend in the stock market? You want to project it. Here, you can able to take the past data, present data, and then present the global environment. So when you want to project the stock market trend in the 3rd week of 4th week of November or December, you can take the historical old data about the stock market, the current data, the political, environmental climate of the whole world. You can combine all, you can able to generate the forecast. And this is called predictive analytics. This is possible only by the use of AI tools. And this process uses a lot of data analysis, machine learning, and AI statistical models to predict the future. A lot of predictions are now based on the data predictive analytics AI tools. And another is called pattern recognition. When you want to recognize the patterns, you can use the machine learning algorithms. You can able to convert the text into images, text into sound. A lot of applications are there. Now, I'm not going to talk about these discussions. So we can go to the next one. Well, and this is a very interesting discussion I'd like to share with you. When you want to do the literature review, I told in my earlier slide, AI tools have potential for literature review. You can able to prepare literature review by using AI tools. And I can say AI tool will be more helpful for the literature review than the use of Google or Google Scholar or any academic search. Well, so I can able to trace briefly the development of the literature review. Until 2000, people took the printed literature to manually read and then correct the literature review. And later, people are using the search engines like Google. Later, academic search engines like Google Scholar or Semantic Scholar or Bryce, many academic search engines are used to find the earlier research. But now, people use AI tools. So people don't use much academic search engines. Now there is a shift from the use of academic search engines to the AI tools. How do you use the AI tools for literature? I can give you an example. A very good literature review search tool is called Elicit. And Elicit is found to be more successful than the other AI tools. That is why I took this example. And if you look at the elicit.com, and when you give a term for the to know the earlier papers, it will give the list of the relevant papers and summaries with the key findings. So when you do, for example, you query in the the Google Scholar will list you the references, like who is the author, in which journal the article is published, what is the title of the article, how many times the paper is cited, when the paper was published. It just gives only the list of the earlier literature, Google Scholar or any academic search engine, or even Semantic Scholar. But if you go to Elicit, it will not just give the list, but it gives a summary in written form. See, one example I can tell you. Now I am giving a prompt, a query in the Elicit. My prompt is phrase mining technology review. So this is my intention. So I am working on a phrase mining. Now I give the prompt or a query in the Elicit phrase mining technology review. What is the result? And this is the result. Just can I will give you. Just please read it. Well, see here, what is the query I have given? The prompt I have given is a phrase mining technology review. What is the output in Elicit? This is the output literature review. Here, you are not writing any review. You are not actually referring all the papers. You are not reading the original text. Just you take the output from the Elicit. Now the literature review is ready. Say, for example, when you write a paper on phrase mining technology, you just copy this one paragraph, four references, and you can able to use it. Not only four references, you can able to generate more references. Now the literature review task is over within few seconds. Imagine you never read the original, you never search for the original, you never put Google or Google Scholar to know, and then you never spend time to read the original article, and you don't understand. You just copy the output and then you do it. Well, I can say most of the young researchers will prefer to do this task. They like it very much. When you do a PhD or when you are in the earlier career of research and you want to write an article, definitely all of you will go to this part. But what is the issue here? See here, if you are just an average user or a researcher, you like this output, you like the Elicit very much. But what is the issue in it actually? Just I can explain in the next slide. Here, what are the issues in the above literature? See, first one is that it is only summary of the papers. That's all. A review which is given to you is only a summary, like an abstract. But there is no critical evaluation or assessment. In the review generated by Elicit, I have given many examples because I have used Elicit for many queries, and I found that all the output given by Elicit are just only summaries. There is no critical evaluation or assessment. A review should be critical. You know very well that when you write a review, you have to identify the earlier gap. What is the gap in the research? Unless you identify the gap, there is no use of writing a review. And then very important problem, and I have identified because I am looking the illicit output as an editor or as a reviewer, not an author. And you see, when you look at the illicit output as an author, you like it very much. But when you look at the review as a reviewer or as an editor, you will not accept. Because one of the major issues which I identified is that each reference remains unconnected. See, there is no gap indicated. Each reference remains unconnected. So I'll go back. See here, there are four references. First one is by Shank et al. Second is by Tripathi et al. Third is by Wang et al. And fourth is by Anjum et al. There are four references. But if you read the reference number 1 and 2, or 2 and 3, 3 and 4, so there is no connectivity. Then there is no logical flow. They are unconnected. They are like assortment. So first is the one, and second is totally different, and third is, which means that these four references from four papers are copied and then just they are connected, physically connected, not logically connected. So this review given by an AI tool is a physical connection, reflection of physical connection, no logical connection, because they are not actually related. The first two, there is no connectivity. See here, when you in the natural language processing, when you write a paragraph, it should be connected all the sentences because a paragraph has several sentences. Each sentence should be connected. If they are not connected, and there is no meaning of writing or reading something, so yeah, then there is no connection. This is a poor connection, and this is an issue which I'm highlighting. AI-generated research literature where references are unconnected, and here this is no human view. Here there is no human view, no human assessment. It's purely a mechanical summary, a machine-generated abstract. I can say there is no human view, no interpretation actually. And then let us take whether you accept it, even with all difficulties, because you are an author. You want to actually write paper, you want to have a shortcut method, you generate the literature review, and then you send it as a part in your paper. You add this part paper, and then you send it to your journal for publication. The journal will not accept it because they employ AI detection tools. They have many AI detection tools. And the AI detection tools will identify the similarity. And the AI detection tool will say that it is 100% similarity with the AI. And it will identify that it is a human, not human generated text, it is a machine generated text. And the similarity, AI similarity will be very high, your paper will be rejected. And this is the result. So as a reviewer, as an editor, if you look at the problem and the AI tools have limitations, but where you can use it. Of course, I'm not criticizing illicit or any other AI tool for literature search, but I'm highlighting only the important issue here. What I suggest you can use a illicit or AI tool to search to know the literature. You can able to know the literature, but not for writing. So my contention is that you can use any AI tool like Elicitor to know the earlier research. You can able to know the earlier papers, but don't use it for writing. What are the writing given by any AI platform? Please don't copy and use it. So this is the limitation and the advantage of the AI tool. Well, how the Elicit or any AI tool is different from Google Scholar? See, in Google Scholar also you are giving the output, input, prompt, you get the result. Here also you get the result. But you get a summary writing, not just a list of the papers. And then in Elicit or any AI tool, you can sort all the output by relevance. You can see which is more relevant to your query. It will actually list according to the relevance. Then according to the number of times they are cited, according to the latest one. The latest reference will be given in the top and the old one will be in the bottom. So you can have the sorting because Google Scholar will not give any sorting like relevance or citation or any latest one. So here, so this is the advantage which we have in the any AI tool, which is actually much better than Google Scholar because you can able to sort according to many criteria. Then inclusion and exclusion criteria is there. So you can use a limit and delimit. So you can able to you can say, for example, I want to search about the irrigation projects in India. except Kerala and Andhra Pradesh. You can say exclusion, or you can say India and another country, inclusion. So this kind of criteria is possible in the searching or in the use of the any AI tool, which is better than the Google Scholar. Well, now we come to the how the machine, the important part is how the text-based machine learning models work. What is actually text-based machine learning model? The classic example is a ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an example of the text-based machine learning model. How it actually works? You know how the you know how the ChatGPT is being output. ChatGPT is a machine learning model. But how it is working? It has a data set. And where the data is actually coming? I think there is some noise is coming. Can you please mute your mic? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to hear
Yes, sir,
me?
the mic
Yeah,
is muted now.
please.
Okay.
Yes.
See how the machine learning models like ChatGPT are working actually. You know the output of the ChatGPT, but how they work. So they also first basically have a basic data set. So the extraction of information by ChatGPT is possible only based on some data set. So they have the data set. The data set is actually very old. It's actually 2022 old. You cannot able to get the recent data. And then the data set is very limited. That is called a trained data, which means that the data is actually synthesized and a very ready-made artificial data set is actually prepared. And when you use the query as a prompt, your query will be crawled in the trained data and then it gives the answers. But the problem in the machine learning model is that you cannot get the recent data. It is not much comprehensive in many cases because it is based on limited data set. So it is using some millions of data sources. But if you take, for example, the best publications, I can say best literature. You got thousands of reports, Wikipedia, textbooks, and you got thousands of resources. But which is the most scholarly resource? It's not even the scientific journals. The scientific journals, of course, are not permitted to you to use the extraction. ChatGPT is not permitted to use the scientific journals. So the content is not updated, content is not original, it's not much reliable, and the accuracy is also the question. But how they work, the limited data set, and they use machine learning techniques so that the query will crawl in the data set, it extract the answers very quickly. That is the advantage of the techniques. Well, where you can use the AI tools. See, the generative AI platforms, the example is actually ChatGPT. So what I did, I want to know what is actually generative AI tool. Generative AI platform. I want to actually know, understand. In Google, I had given the query, what is generative artificial intelligence? It gives the answer. The generative AI tools can able to create new content, including audio, code, images, text, simulations, and videos. Now, this is the answer which I get from the Google, but it's a wrong definition of generative AI because the definition says that the explanation says that any AI tool like ChatGPT can create new content that is questionable. It's not creating new content. Please understand, ChatGPT is not giving any new answer. It is only extraction of information already available in the web platform. It is not creating a new information like a human being. If you ask a scientist, a scholar, something, a question, a prompt, the scientist will say something new, which is not available already. So the content is not new. So this is a wrong interpretation given by Google about the generative artificial intelligence platform. This is not new, it's only old. And generative AI outputs are detailed and calibrated combinations of web content. It's only the web content which is extracted, but not from one single source. See, if a single source is used by ChatGPT to give the answer, you will identify very easily. But it is taken borrowed from hundreds of thousands of sources. and these extraction are actually combined, duplicate content is removed, and then they are actually logically connected by using linguistic tools. That is why you get actually text which is like a human generated text. So they do not contain scholarly knowledge. So main issue of the ChatGPT or any generative artificial platform is that the content fails to reflect any scholarly knowledge. This is the main issue for research. So what is the result? How we can able to conclude? Generative AI is not a content creator. It's only content aggregator. So this is my definition. Generative AI is not a content creator, but content aggregator. Already available in the web, it is able to combine, extract, and remove duplicate, and then add linguistic rules so that you will be able to get the generated text, machine generated text. But the answer is somewhat clever. So what do we understand? We can accept it. That there is a relevance between your query and the response. There is a relevance between your prompt and the extraction by the ChatGPT or any generative AI. Relevance is very high. You have to accept it. But there are many other issues in the generative AI. Well, so my contention is that so I want to argue generative AI platform should not be used in research. But of course, earlier I told you, you can use it for data analysis, data exploration, finding of the related papers, but not for writing. See, many people have done research on ChatGPT. They have analyzed even I have done a work on ChatGPT, and we found that it is using only limited data set. Any generative AI, like ChatGPT or other platforms, use very old limited data set. Then the vocabulary is repetitive pattern. The answers given by them are repetitive. It's not actually something impressive. The content generated by AI is not impressive. It's not like a human writing. Human writing is very impressive, but it follows a repetitive pattern, and the vocabulary used by them is very limited. So it's not like an original content. And then some reports say that they have inaccuracies and language errors. So they are also reported in the AI narrative research. Well, now we come to the very important part, last part, research writing. See, research writing should be very powerful. It should have meaning, a semantic relation, and it should have concept rich in the writing. Only when you write a thesis or a research paper or a research report, which is very meaningful, it has good semantics and concept richness, then your writing is acceptable. But the question is that whether AI can able to create such writing is an issue. And then the peer-reviewed journals reject many papers. And then one important fact is that AI tools will help us to produce a thesis or a paper without human effort. I can say very clearly, 100%. You can write a thesis. You can write a thesis. You can write it. You can generate an research article 100% by using AI tool. No need for giving any, even just by using some key terms. You can use some key terms. You can generate a thesis. You can generate a paper by using many AI tools. 100%. There is no human effort. But what is the result? It's a synthetic content. It's not human generated content. And then what is the result? If you use the AI tools completely for research, even for writing, and your intellectual capability will be affected. You can't be creative. You can't generate new idea because you are depending on the machines, and you will not be a good researcher, and you will not really contribute. Originally, you cannot able to bring any novel contribution, and this is a problem of that generative AI tools for writing. Well, so you can able to use AI tools mindfully with ethics. You have to use it with intelligence, not mechanically. Do not use AI tool mechanically, but with intellectual involvement. Use it ethically. The integrity, academic integrity is very important when you use AI tool. And see, knowledge is very important for research. In academic world, in the research world, knowledge is very important. But when you use the AI tool extensively, what is the result? Knowledge will be affected. Knowledge addition will be affected. Knowledge is very important for academic research. And the excessive use of AI tool will suppress knowledge creation or knowledge addition. So this is an important point which I like to tell you. Well, where you can able to use AI tools for writing. Now, in the last few slides, I told you very clearly, do not use any AI tool for writing. But AI tools also can be used for writing, where you can able to use. See here, first I say very clearly, do not use any paper writing tool or paraphrasing tool, which are completely prohibited. Because when you send a piece or a research article, the editors will actually subject your content for the AI tool detection. It will very clearly say that it is generated by machines, it will not accept it. So even if you use it, it will not accept it. So do not use any paper writing tool. There are many paper writing tools available and many paraphrasing tools are available. So they are not permissible. And you can use a text editors. And you can able to fix the spelling grammatical errors. You can polish your writing by using the AI text editors. What is actually AI text editor? I think all of you know well about the Grammarly or Ginger or any other tool. There are many text editors available. So what they do, they will not create any writing to you. See, just you are trying to first of all you are trying yourself. Imagine your writing is very bad, your writing is very poor. You commit a lot of grammatical errors, language errors, but don't worry about it. Whatever you can able to write, you write yourself. Then give the writing to the text editors. The text editors will refine it, will check the language, correct the language, and then change some vocabulary. It will suggest some vocabulary. It will not automatically change it. Definitely, these text editors will not do anything automatically. It is suggested and it is left to you to accept or reject. When there are suggestions there, you can just accept the suggestion, then you can able to improve the language. So even if your writing is very bad and language errors and meaningless, sentence is meaningless, no, don't worry about it. And when you use the writing to the text editor, it will actually correct the language errors. It will suggest if you point out where is the error, then you will use the mouse to accept it. Use the mouse to accept it, then your language will be changed. Writing will be changed. And what is the result? You can able to remove all the grammatical errors, spelling errors, and you can able to polish your writing. And this is original because it is based on your writing, not based on AI writing. So don't mechanically use the AI writing tools. Write yourself, but use a text editors like Ginger or Grammarly, which will help you to polish your writing, remove the language errors, then you can able to bring a good output. Well, then something I'd like to tell you, a concept called the phrase and vocabulary bank. So I have been working on this concept. So I don't have time to explain about the phrase bank and vocabulary bank. I think I need more than 1 hour to explain it. But this is very important for research writing. Creating a phrase bank or vocabulary bank is very important now. But I don't have time because I need more than 1 hour to talk about it. Just I can mention very clearly. How do you create a phrase or vocabulary bank? Because now I am helping you to write yourself individually, not using AI tool. So I'm not now suggesting to use AI tool for writing. So you can use your brain. So first of all, in your domain, for example, you are working in a particular area. Imagine you are working on a deep learning. This is the area of research. In the deep learning, actually, new developments have been occurring. See, when you work on deep learning, this is your subdomain or the area of research. In deep learning, several models are actually coming. Many programs are available actually. Many codings are available. Many output models are available. Architectures are available. So whatever the availability information, all of them are reflected in the new scientific reports. For example, what are the important journals in deep learning? You identify the deep learning important journals. And what are the news items in deep learning? What are the new outcomes in deep learning? You can able to identify it. And you can use them all the feed into your search platform. And it will actually crawl the whole content from the web, the new information in 2024 on deep learning. And it will extract a text. Then you can able to use certain tools, for example, and a tool I can say online tutoring. And if you use these tools, it can able to take the important phrases from the deep learning platforms, the deep learning content, so new literature which is on deep learning, and your query prompt can able to take all the important phrases, it will extract them, and then it will store it in your database. and then you can able to create an important vocabulary bank. Vocabulary bank is not actually a word bank, not just only the keywords, but the phrases. So this is the important which the difference which I have to mention. Phrases. The important phrases you can able to create. Important vocabulary you can able to create. You can create a bank. Then you can keep it. When you want to write it there, you can use the vocabulary and you can able to replace an ordinary word with the vocabulary word. Are rejected. Even if they are accepted, they are accepted only if the marginal journal. What is actually marginal journal? You know about the Scopus and the Web of Science journals. You know the quartile Q1 journal, Q2 journals, Q3, Q4 journals. So institutions will accept whether you publish in Q1 or Q2 or Q4, they accept it. But what many people, Indian researchers achieve actually, they're able to push their papers in the last few journals in the Q4. In the Q4 percentile, the last few journals are actually targeted by many Indian researchers and are able to push it into some Scopus Research journals, but they don't go to Q1. If you look at the number of the papers published in Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, many Indian papers or many third world country papers are published in Q4, not in Q1. Only very few are Q1. Why? What is the reason? Your idea may be very good. Your contribution is really good actually. But the problem actually, your presentation is not good actually. You are doing a very simple conventional writing. Even though your writing has no grammatical error, I understand. But there is no stylish presentation. And there is very no appealing, impressive presentation. See, the problem is that many Indians lack impressive presentations. That is why I suggest you to create a vocabulary bank, replace your simple writing with the vocabulary bank or phrase bank, and then you can able to prepare a very high level writing, and you can able to forecast a new knowledge, and you can able to draw good vocabulary and presentation. Well, now recently the AI has been used for research evaluation, for paper review. So when you send a paper, now people have developed AI tools to review the paper. And even the scientific papers are now available to be using AI. But they found that they are able to do some reviewing, but the review is very generic, not actually depth critical review. Some AI tools, say for example, you wrote for example a 25-page article. You can use the 25-page article into AI review mechanism. AI tool will review the 25-page writing, and it will give you some general comments. What are the major issues? But the AI tools fail to provide any depth criticism. The depth criticism of the paper is handled only by the human beings, only by the domain experts, and not by AI. But in general level, the basic level, AI tools are very successful in evaluating the writing of the people. But the comments are very general. There is no specific depth criticism. This is a new development. And now I'd like to give a very important discussion actually. Artificial intelligence in the retraction. You heard that actually many journals are doing the retraction of papers, removing the papers. See, journals have published the papers, but after some time, maybe 1 or 2 months, after 3 months or 6 months, the papers are removed by the journals. That is a process called as a retraction. Recently, I saw the data. Now, as of now, in the last 5 years, more than 60,000 papers, scientific papers, are removed from the top journals, not with ordinary journals, not with the lower level journals, but with top journals. All the peer-reviewed journals, top journals, remove the papers of publication. Why? What is the reason for the retraction? And many papers are found to have involved in the data falsification, false data manipulation, and then unacceptable correlation. See, I have two variables, and I can able to do the statistical analysis of two variables. I say that my database has millions of articles, and I prepare the correlation, and I say that correlation is excellent. That is my data interpretation. But when the people check the correlation, it is not false. It is a negative correlation. But to accept my paper, what I do then, I do the malicious correlation, spurious correlation. I artificially relating two variables without any factual data. That is called a data dredging. And these are rejected. And then many AI generated papers. Sometimes reviewers don't able to find the AI generated papers. They accept it. The journal publish it. Later, they actually found that these are artificially generated papers, and they remove it. So retraction is more, and that is why journal publication process is now undergoing a drastic change. What many journals now ask that they ask the authors to deposit all the data in digital platform. For example, if you say that I got 2.3 billion records, submit all the 2.3 billion data, original data set to the journal. So they require that data set should be submitted to the journal. Generally, your paper is eligible for the review, and then they use a AI. They ask you to give the declaration at the end of the paper. The paper has not used any AI tool for writing. Even many conferences, even where I am involved as a chairperson, we give it mandatory that authors are not encouraged to use any AI tool for writing. So AI tool is not permissible. And then they all the journals now use the AI direction mechanisms. Even if they're able to write a paper, the journal will not accept because they use the AI direction tools. And finally, now the journals are now working to bring the transparency index. What is actually acceptable? That is called like an integrity, research integrity mechanism. So transparency index has been worked out. Now many journals are giving data about their way in which they accept the papers. And these are some open data repositories available, and there are many available in the web platform. I can suggest you to use a Goggle database. Goggle is giving an open data repository of billions and billions of, you can say, terabytes of data available in the Goggle platform, which are actually open source. You can use these data repositories for your research if you are not able to collect any big data. Well, well, just I can able to give you a discussion. Why I'm opposing the use of AI tool for writing. See, when you use AI tool, it affects your critical thinking. You can't able to generate a new idea. See here, if you're able to write the papers, if you're able to write the thesis without understanding the concept, by you just using the AI tool, and how you can able to do the original research. So original research is not possible if you're going to use the AI tool because you are using the AI tool mechanically, not with your mind. So mechanical use of AI tool will affect your research. And if somebody question you, you cannot answer it. If, for example, when you use AI tool to write a paper or a thesis, after publication, if somebody asks you about the work, you cannot even answer. You say that I don't know the answer, only the AI tool you can able to use the answer to you. I have used the Elicit, you just ask Elicit, Elicit will give you the answer. I cannot able to give the answer. So that is why we use the AI tool for writing. But to conclude, I can say that AI tool is permissible to some extent. The problem is that AI cannot infuse novel ideas into your mind. Please make a very clear point that artificial intelligence cannot give you a novel idea to your mind. And creative thinking is very important for research. AI tool will not give you creative thinking. And your approach should be original novel. Novel approach is very important for research. And mechanical use of the AI without any understanding is very dangerous. And if you use AI tool without the really understanding, it's very dangerous in research. So what I suggest that finally I can say that you can generate your own idea. Generate your own idea. Translate the idea into better output. You can convert the idea into a good output by using technology. Where AI tool can be used, your original idea can be converted into a better output by using AI tool. So this is the final conclusion. Just in one sentence, I can say very clearly that you generate your idea, convert the idea into a better output by using AI tools. You can use AI tool for research, but not for generating idea, not for writing. So first part is actually idea generation, last is writing. But first and last don't use AI. But in between that you can able to use because for data analysis, AI is an excellent tool. Data interpretation, data visualization, inferencing, AI is an excellent tool. Really you have to appreciate. AI is a good technology, but you have to use it with a sense. You have to use it mindfully. You have to use it sensibly. You have to use it with the integrity and with ethics. So with this brief discussion, I like to close the talk on the use of AI tools. But I wanted to talk more about the AI tools. But the problem is that I don't have time. Because when I asked the Professor MP Singh, sir, can you give me the time limit for the presentation? He says that it's according to your own time. But I can talk for 2 hours, 3 hours, but who will sit actually to listen 2 or 3 hours? Especially in the web platform, many people will lose actually concentration. But when you are sitting physically, if I face-to-face meeting, if I am able to meet all 100 of you in your hall, so I can able to bring your attention. But in the web platform, in the online platform, it is very difficult to bring the concentration of the participants. That is why I don't like to more time to take discussions, but I can able to take see if this one talk can be divided into 10 talks. For each talk, I can able to spend 1 hour so that it will be a very comprehensive talk. But we don't have 10 hours to talk about the AI tools for writing. So we need 1 hour for each and every part of this talk. So we don't have the time to do it. Maybe later we can think about it. So, so what before we conclude, actually, before I conclude my talk, just I like to have good interactions with you. I welcome questions and interactions from you. We can discuss it. So I don't say that you have to ask question and I have to give the answer, but you can able to give the answer. I can able to ask questions, you can able to give the answer. So we have some interaction, some discussions before we close it. I think I can able to see.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can able to see the question.
So during this
Yeah,
session,
chat box.
yeah, we received some
Yeah,
questions.
you see chat box.
Yes, sir. So let me read for you, sir, some of the questions.
See, how is AI tool used for libraries actually? And this is very interesting question. See, you can enable. You can able to identify the important AI tools. You can identify the important AI tools of many activities that you can able to host the AI tools in your web platform. You can give training for the use of AI tools, not all AI tools. You can able to identify list the very important useful AI tools. Then you can give a training of all the AI tools to the end users, like a type of the orientation program for the effective use of AI tools for research. So this is one way you can do. Then you can able to give
Yeah,
the
long
ethics. You
है.
can able to teach the ethics to the researchers. How you have to
लगी
use
है
the
बस.
AI tool mindfully with ethics and
मैं कहीं
integration.
खाऊंगा.
Academic research integrity should be followed, and how
मैं हमें
you
मिले.
can able to teach the integration in academic integrity and research.
मुझे भी आ रहे.
And this way you can able to use the AI for libraries.
कितना पके.
Any other question?
Sir, there is one more question in chat box. Sir, from Miss Pinky Bhagat, and that is, while AI offers tremendous potential, what are the main challenges or barriers to its widespread adoption in academic and scientific research, especially in developing countries?
See, I can see where is the question actually. I can just see the question before it. Uh,
The question
where
is
is the
from
question?
Sir, by Miss Pinky Bhagat. So in the chat box.
In chat box, who is the author?
Can I repeat, sir?
Okay, just you can repeat the question very loud, please. Repeat the question.
So the question is, while AI offers tremendous potential, what are the main challenges or barriers to its widespread adoption in academic and specific and scientific research, especially in developing countries?
Well, see here, I told very clearly, AI tools is permittable only for some research activities, not for the whole research. So we can understand where you can use the AI tool, where we should not use the AI tool. This is very important. Where we can use the AI tool, where we should not use the AI tool, and to what extent we can use the AI tool. So we should have a very clear understanding of where to use, where we should not use it, and where we can use it partially. So once we have a very clear idea about the extent of use of AI tools, we can be able to use the AI tool more meaningfully and more ethically.
Thank you, sir. So there's
Anything else?
The question is ki, how do you see artificial intelligence transforming traditional research methodologies? Could you please share some real world example where AI has significantly enhanced the research process?
Well, see, this is very interesting. When you talk about the research method, it's a very broad term. It's a very broad term. The research methodology for a research process involves a design. You have to create an architecture. You have to create a design, and you have to create a data set. You have to define the data set for the research, because methodology includes creating a design or architecture for the research, creating a sample of the data set, and how the data is drawn from the data set, and how the data is actually interpreted, analyzed. So all these activities are called actually as a research methods. We can use the AI tool for all such activities. See, first of all, to create an architecture, what you can do, but if you are working mainly on AI tool, the architecture generated with the AI tool will be duplicate. It is not original. So any design created by AI tool for the research will be duplicate, will be secondary, it's not original. But to some extent, you can ask the AI to generate a method or a design, and take the design, you can do the necessary modification. And because even what I did actually, today morning actually, I have given an example. There is an AI tool called the Brainstorm. You can try to use Brainstorm AI tool. I checked the Brainstorm AI tool, and then I have given the query. What is a better design for the phrase analysis? It has created a very good architecture. Within few seconds, the Brainstorm has given a very good architecture how to do the design for the phrase analysis. But when I checked it, I found that some of the components are not really related to the phrase analysis. Some of them are not related, and some of them are really acceptable. So some of the research designs, part of the research design architecture even by the Brainstorm is acceptable. So I found that some of them are not relevant. So what I finally concluded that for creating a research design, AI tool can be used, but don't take it as it is. You can able to manually check which components are acceptable. Number one, research design, and number two for the data set, and you can able to take the data from any open data set. One example I told you, Google is a very good large data list, and then you can use AI tool to get the data. AI tool can able to give the data to you. So the data set you can able to use the AI tool. And then for the data analysis, AI is an excellent tool for data analysis, because methodology includes the data analysis. How we are going to process the data, how you are going to analyze the data. For data analysis, AI is an excellent tool. It has very good potential. So I completely 100% recommend you to use AI tool for the data analysis and data interpretation. When you deal with the complex data, AI tool will give the data interpretation, and it will give the data visualization, very good graphical result, and it will give the textual interpretation also. Not only the graphical result, but the graphical result will be converted into textual interpretation, for which AI tools are very useful tools, excellent tools. And there are many AI tools which you can able to use it, and for research methodology, and AI has good application. I told you initially, for idea creation, don't use AI tool, and for writing, don't use AI tool. But in between them, you can able to use AI tool, especially for methodology. AI tool has good progress.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there is one more question from Dr. Deepak Kumar Shrivastava. And the question is how can predictive analytics assist in optimizing library operations, such as anticipating peak visitation times, predicting popular book checkouts, or maintaining digital infrastructure?
Well, this is something very interesting. See, how we can use predictive analytics for library operations. See here, I told you predictive analytics use the historical data, past data, current data, and the current environment. So here, when you use a predictive analytics, you should give three types of inputs. The first input is actually the past data. For example, the last 1 month visit, last 1 month data, the current data. Say today what is the data and what is the data yesterday. You have to give the current data and what is the current environment. So how do you define the current environment? For example, in terms of library operations, during weekend, the library usage will be very less. But during the week opening, maybe on Monday or Tuesday, the usage will be very high. So during the peak hours, peak time, peak days, the library usage is expected to be very high. Before examination, the library usage is expected to be very less. So this is the current environment. So you have to give the current environment. For example, once at time, what is the period date, whether before examination or it's weekend or weekday, and you can able to give such input. And when you use these all three input, you will get generate the future possible use forecasting. You can able to forecast. So predictive analytics depends upon the three important parameters: historical data, current data, and current environment. When you're giving these three input, you will get a good forecasting result.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there are some more questions. So I want to ask that question also, sir. It would be great for us if you can share your expertise. So there's one question: ki, how is AI useful for libraries, and what tools, AI tools, which we can use in the libraries?
लोग वो बनाते हैं
I think I told you already. For libraries, actually, first of all, you can able to give the training. Where you can able to use AI tool, where you should not use AI tool, for what extent you can able to use, you can able to give proper training for the AI tools, and then you can able to assist, for example, AI detection. See, for example, if a user is giving a text written produced by the individual, you can able to do analysis of the AI text. Now, what is the AI similarity? How AI similarity is actually calculated, and what are the limitations of the generative AI tools? Because generative AI tools are used by students. You know very well that, and before 15 years, all of you know, all the students have used Wikipedia to write assignment. But now many students are using ChatGPT for writing assignments. So you can able to explain how to write the original article. There you can able to use AI tool for better assignment writing, student assignment writing. AI tool and how can be used there. So you can able to recommend them. You can able to encourage them to use a text editor, not AI tool. For writing, you can able to recommend to use a text editor, not the AI tool. So you can do the training, and for many operations, you can able to create an awareness of AI tool among users. And this is a very big role for the library people, creating awareness for the students and faculty members for the
तुम्हारे उधर नहीं रखे
AI tools.
आपकी लक्ष्मी की ओर थोड़े ना पाँव रखे जाते हैं
Thank you, sir. Sir, there is one more
लक्ष्मी के
question.
तो पाँव
Can you elaborate more on the ethical consideration
हाँ तो
of
लक्ष्मी
AI tools on literature review?
हैं
Well, so I told you very good
Lakshmi
example
Lakshmi
because
Lakshmi.
LCP is a very
Oh, Lakshmi,
interesting tool,
Lakshmi.
because I referred many literature searching tool. I found that the LCP is much better than other tools. The problem actually is that it is not able to give the
आज
correlation.
मूवी नहीं देखी
It's not
तुमने
able to
मेरे
give the
साथ
critical analysis.
मैं गुस्सा हूँ
But you can use the LCP
ऐसी मूवी
to
देखेंगे
know
तो
the
बताओ
area
मत दिखा
literature. You can use the
Comedy
LCP
type.
to know the area literature, but write yourself. Do
I
not
will see you.
accept the writing of any AI tool.
sorry I will show you
But for searching of all the later literature,
I will show
you can use any AI tool. But
No,
for
show
writing,
you.
do not use AI tool, but write yourself. For literature searching, AI tools are best, excellent, and better than the Google Scholar and other academic search engines. Number one. Number two is that you can able to write yourself well. Don't use any AI tool for writing. While for literature searching, you can use it. Any other question?
Yes,
Komal,
sir. Yes, sir. There is
only
one
last
more.
question now.
Okay, so
Nothing
this
more.
will be last question.
Due to the possibility of time. Please.
So there is a question ki many people are using AI tools. So if we not use, we may be backward. Which areas in research we may use AI tools?
Well, I think this is a very general question. I think I told you clearly many times. See, AI tools to be used. I recommend to use AI tool, but with a limited application. Don't use AI tool for writing or for creating a novel idea. For data analysis, data interpretation, for literature search, you can able to use it. And for to find the relevant literature, you can able to use the AI tool. You can use a text editor for writing, not a AI tool, but the text editor you can able to use for writing. And for the statement of the problem, when you want to see, you have discussed a problem, you identified a problem. To write the statement of the problem, you can able to use an AI tool with a limited sense. And data visualization, data analysis, data interpretation, data sampling, and for to create a small design, you can able to use a AI tool. Do not use AI tool to prepare the scope of a paper. The scope of your research can be determined only by you. do not prepare the objectives of the research, purpose of the research by using AI tool. So purpose of the research should be only by the human involvement. And you have to develop the aim, you have to write the purpose of the research, objectives of the research yourself, and you have to write the scope of the research, and you have to present the problem yourself. But for literature review and for data analysis, you can able to use a AI tool. Now, this is a very general ethical practice which I can able to suggest.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful presentation on AI-assisted research services. It was highly informative and provided a clear understanding of how AI is transforming the research landscape. Sir, as we are near the conclusion of today's webinar, I wish to extend heartfelt thanks to everyone who has contributed to the success of this event. I'm pleased to invite Ms. Surikala Bharti, one of the member of SLA Asia community, to deliver the official vote of thanks for today's.
Thank you so much, Ms. Komal. As we come to close today's wonderful session, it's both an honor and privilege for me to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all of you who have contributed to making this event resounding success. On behalf of SLA Asia community, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to everyone for this insightful international webinar celebrating the 25th anniversary of SLA Asia. Your active involvement and support have played a vital role of making this event not only successful but truly memorable. First and foremost, I would like to thank our distinguished speaker, Professor Pichappan sir. Those expertise on the transformative role of AI in research has left us all with deeper understanding and its potential. Your expertise on thought-provoking perspective have opened new horizons for us. We are truly honored by your presence and appreciate the time you have dedicated to sharing your knowledge with us. I would also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the President of SLA Asia, Professor MP Singh Sir, for his unwavering commitment, continuous support, and tireless effort to guiding the contributing to the successful organizing this webinar. His dedication has been a source of inspiration, ensuring every aspect was executed with excellence and precision. A special thanks to goes out of all the member and participant who have joined us today. Your presence and engagement are greatly appreciated. We hope the insightful gain from this webinar will be beneficial to you, your professional and personal endeavor. Last but not the least, I extend my thanks to entire organizing team for their hard work and dedication in making this event possible. Your effort behind the scene have been crucial in ensuring everything runs smoothly. Once again, thank you all for being a part of this wonderful session. We look forward to your continued support and participation in our future event. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Komal,
Yes, sir. Before ending this meet, I would
Thank
like
you.
to
Thank you,
request
sir.
turn on their camera so that we can click the moment. It's a request, please turn on their cameras.
you speak loudly, Komal.
It's a request to everyone, please turn on their camera so that we can click the picture. If I'm audible, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone. Especially thanks to the Professor Pichappan giving us a very valuable time, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Singh, for giving us a good job.
Thank you, sir. MP Singh. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.